think I'm live. Oh. Okay. So here we go. Hello, traders. Trying a live stream just to test it, and thing says I'm live, so must be working. Before I start, obviously this is first of all a test for the live stream, and second of all, I will be going over the Euro Kiwi. But first of all, disclaimers, it's always necessary. This is not an investment advisory. It should not be used to make investment decisions. Information on MarcHavFX.com is often opinionated and should be considered for information purposes only. No exchange anywhere has approved or disapproved of the information contained herein. There is no express or implied solicitation to buy or sell currencies and/or securities. The charts and comments provided here are not meant for investment purposes and only serve as technical examples. Don't consider buying or selling any currencies and/or securities without conducting your own diligence. All right, now that we've gone through that legalese, we start with the analysis of Euro Kiwi, and we start with a monthly chart. You've probably seen me posting this on Twitter a couple of times. I'm very, very focused on this pair. I do believe that it's got enormous potential, not only because of the technicals, but also RBNZ just cut interest rate again. There was again jawboning saying that the currency rate is still overvalued. So there's probably a very good chance that maybe not at the next meeting, but next year, the second meeting, there might be another cut. And obviously the ECB isn't going to cut anymore, and the chances and the how shall I say it, the odds that the ECB might stop QE and start thinking about raising interest rates becomes bigger and bigger. So that will influence this pair. Now, first things first. You see this fork, which has been perfect for getting into entries. That's why the green arrows here. Now, going forward, obviously you can see that there might be, everybody keeps talking about heads and shoulders the last few weeks. So here's another one. But how do we go forward with defining levels to play this on the long side? Because I really think it's time for the long side. So what do? Yeah, we need another fork, right? Okay, so we're going to draw another fork, and lo and behold, look where the lower parallel goes, and that shows that we could potentially put another arrow here, and thinking, yeah, okay, this structure, this fork could be valid. Or you could just say it's a trend line, but a trend line doesn't, isn't defined by two touches. That's just wishful thinking, and that's of course the same thing with an Andrews pitchfork. All right, now when we look at the latest move up, and of course if you put a fib on it, look where we stopped. It was exactly at the 78.6, which is usually a Fibonacci level to which, you know, Aussie and Kiwi react to, and it did in this case too. And so please bear in mind this is a monthly chart. A lot of you are used to I guess playing, you know, hourlies, 4-hour charts. You know, this doesn't mean, oh yeah, just go along, and because obviously we're about 400 pips away already from this point. So also the Euro Kiwi is not a pair to be played by beginning forex traders. By the way, it's very volatile, and as you can see, it could potentially move 500, 700 pips in the course of a few hours. If you're on the wrong side, yeah, don't do it. I'll be on the wrong side, of course. If it goes, if you're on the right side, then yeah, it ain't half bad. All right, so now, what else can we do to define some levels? So if we would take along somewhere here on Monday, we'll try to figure that out if we go to a daily chart. You got to define, of course, your target levels. Now, target levels, yeah, Fibonacci is good, but there are some better ways, in my opinion, to define targets, and that's why we're going to draw sliding parallels. So those of you who are not familiar with this concept, I have a few videos on the YouTube channel which explains what I'm doing here, basically. So just gonna put him here, get some more here, and I know some of you will say, oh yeah, just if you draw enough lines, then you know, at a certain point it will hit it, and then you can say, hey, look, my line was there. Yes and no. Because look what we have here. If I can position this line, because obviously it's a monthly chart, so you know, it can't be precise, but if you already see this sliding parallel, it really defined the top here together with the fib, the 38.2 from this move. Sorry, from the entire move. Excuse me. So that also already tells me, okay, there's a confluence of a fib, a sliding parallel, and a median line from the previous fork. So this level here is pretty important. Now, that would also, you know, give me some, let's say, conviction that as a target, I should, you know, keep this in mind for the future. And of course, since Andrew's pitchforks also give you an indication of the time frame when a target can be achieved, you know, we're talking about in a year and a half, right? In June 2018. Okay. Anyway, so that's an indication. Now, one other thing that I wanted to show on this monthly chart is you see this structure here, and you know, I copied the candles, and if we do an overlay, you know, it's like pretty amazing how, you know, of course it's not precise, but if with a bit of imagination, you know, you can definitely see the similarities between this move and this move, where it basically bottomed and where it shot up. How many pips? I don't know. About 30,000, 36,000. Okay, this is all very nice, and if it works out, you can make a lot of money. But of course, it could also be wishful thinking, right? Anyway, it's a nice indication that there might be a bottom forming here, and that if this is a head and shoulders, that we're right at the right shoulder. Of course, head and shoulder is not confirmed yet, so, but still. Okay, now we look at the same thing on a weekly chart. Now we have this fork here, this big fork here. We're just gonna forget the spike, because it also depends on broker to broker. Some brokers, especially in periods of high volatility, they just take everybody out. Okay, but that's another discussion. All right. Then where are we? Of course, this bigger fork, and again, I draw those parallels. If you look at the red one, that's a pretty important one. It got the high here, and on the other side, with the same distance, approximately, it caught the low here, and of course, this week with in the elections, I'm not going to say anything. The elections in the United States, obviously, with the volatility, levels usually don't hold. But the funny thing is, this internal, let's call it trend line, which goes from this high, this high, this low. It caught this low. It basically also caught this low, and it really caught this low too. So it's a pretty important internal trend line, which also, and again, gives us a little bit of indication or confirmation that we have to start looking to the upside. Okay. We also had a bullish outside week, by the way. I'm just going to zoom in some more. I don't know how detailed you can see this on a YouTube live stream. So what are we looking at next week is definitely that we need another higher high, a weekly high, and if that comes in at the upper parallel, we're talking about 155.50s. Okay. What happens here? It will probably, hopefully, go outside of the of this pitchfork and reach the 61.8. That would be nice, and of course, there you see this is enormous resistance. It tested it here. It didn't basically, was able to get above this 61.8, close above it, or look at this 38.2, which also was huge resistance. Okay. Targets, obviously, it's going to be right here. Next level, if it's going to test it, will be this zone over here. And once it gets above that, we're going to have to start thinking it's going to reach the median line, which will be, if it's gonna reach the median line, it's gonna pass it. So then we'll be at 165, which is 13,000 pips away. So that would be nice. Anyway, this is all wishful thinking. Another thing to look at is, obviously, and I do that, use trend lines on RSI. I use RSI 20, by the way. Once we get above this trend line, which should happen, once we get above 155, that would be another indication that the downtrend is done, right? Okay, let's look at this on a daily chart. There I have still a downsloping. It's not a pitchfork, but it's a channel, which has been working pretty well. And there we have the same targets that I was talking about on the weekly. But here is already a little bit better indication because RSI broke out. Of course, it's just a two-touch here. This trend line, we make it a little bit bigger. But it's an indication. And we're almost at the RSI 50. So if we get above that, that would add to the strength of the pair, and that would give more conviction that that the direction is up. All right. Okay, that was it. If you're watching this, oh, there's 3 people watching. Hi. Thank you for watching. Now that you're here, any questions? There's a chat box in the YouTube thing, I think. In case you want to watch some other pairs or have some questions. Just waiting for chat. Nobody's on the chat. No questions. All right, then I'm gonna wrap this up. It's already 10 minutes. I will probably make some more videos about pairs in general. I have to check now if this live stream worked and if the quality is good. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you when I see you.